Lena held Mira's hand tightly, her fingers shaking as she scanned the barren landscape stretched out before them. The sky hung grey and swollen, a canopy of clouds suffocating any hint of warmth or colour. They'd been walking for days, rationing what little food they had left, moving through abandoned towns and fields stripped bare by whatever desperate survivors came before them. They both knew that every step forward was a gamble with fate. "Do you remember that vacation we took to the lake?" Mira's voice was soft, almost a whisper against the growling silence. Her gaze lingered on a tattered, overgrown path that once must have led somewhere people cared about. Lena nodded, her heart aching at the memory. "Of course I do," she replied, managing a faint smile. "We spent hours just sitting there, watching the sun go down. You brought that ridiculous little radio, and you hated every song I played on it." Mira finished, chuckling quietly. "I didn't hate it. I just thought you had questionable taste in music," Lena teased, giving Mira's hand a reassuring squeeze. Despite the decay surrounding them, in that moment the world felt almost bearable. But the illusion shattered as a distant shuffle echoed down the street. Lena's grip tightened, and she pulled Mira to the side, into the cover of an old grocery store that had been ransacked long ago. Together, they crouched low, hidden by dusty shelves and scattered cans. "How many do you think?" Lena whispered, barely breathing. Mira listened, her senses sharpened by months of survival. "2, maybe 3, she said, her eyes scanning the street. Not too close yet. The shuffling grew louder, accompanied by a faint, sickly groan. It was a sound that once terrified them, but now felt grimly familiar. They had survived too long, seen too much to be paralyzed by fear anymore. But every encounter, every brush with death, left its mark. Mira touched the jagged scar on Lena's arm, a silent reminder of a night when she had nearly lost her. "We're going to get through this together," she promised. Lena nodded, steeling herself. They had each other. That was all that mattered. When the zombies had passed, they emerged cautiously, navigating their way through the remnants of civilization. They walked until dusk, finally setting up camp beneath an old freeway overpass. Mira huddled close to Lena as they shared the last of their bread, savouring the taste as if it were a feast. Lena reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out a battered, folded photograph. It showed a much younger version of them, smiling, arms wrapped around each other, eyes bright with dreams of a future that now felt impossibly distant. "We look so happy," Mira murmured, her fingers brushing the image gently. "We were happy," Lena replied, "and we still have that, no matter what." As night fell, they lay side by side, their bodies intertwined, keeping each other warm against the biting chill. Outside, they could hear the faint, eerie moans drifting in the wind, a reminder of the unending darkness pressing in on them. But in the shelter of each other's arms, they found a fragile peace. The next day brought a faint hope, a signal they picked up on a scavenged radio, a nearby city rumoured to be safe, a haven where survivors had built a community protected from the undead. It was dangerous, but if it was true, it could mean a chance for them to finally rest, to build something close to a life again. The journey took days, pushing their bodies and their will to the edge. They encountered scattered undead along the way, each confrontation leaving them more exhausted, their nerves raw and fraying. But they pressed on, refusing to surrender to the despair that had claimed so many others. One evening, as they approached the city's outskirts, they encountered a group of survivors. At first, Lena and Mira were overjoyed, thinking they had finally found the sanctuary they'd dreamed of. But their hopes were short-lived. The leader of the group, a wiry man with eyes as hard as steel, looked them over with suspicion. "We don't have the resources for anyone else," he said flatly. "Every mouth we feed takes away from our own," Lena pleaded, her voice breaking. "Please, we've come so far, we just need a place to rest, even for a little while. We'll do whatever it takes to earn our keep." But the man shook his head, unmoved. "I'm sorry, it's survival of the fittest now. Desperation clawed at Mira's heart. "We won't make it out here much longer," she whispered to Lena, tears gathering in her eyes. Lena looked at her, then back at the man, her heart breaking. "If you won't let us in, at least, take Mira. She's strong, she'll contribute. Please, just let her have a chance." Mira's eyes widened in horror, grabbing Lena's hand. "No, don't you dare leave me. I won't go without you." The leader's gaze softened just slightly, but he remained firm. "Neither of you would survive alone, I'm sorry." And with that, they turned them away. They walked in silence that night, the weight of their shattered hopes pressing down on them. Mira kept her arm around Lena, her heart heavy with the knowledge that their future was a dwindling spark. They found shelter in the ruins of an old diner, where the flicker of memories and whispered words filled the silence. When morning came, they awoke to a new horror. A horde of zombies had tracked their scent, drawn to the diner. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Lena and Mira held each other, their breaths mingling in the cold dawn air. Mira's voice was steady as she looked into Lena's eyes, her thumb brushing away a tear. "This world may be ending, but our love won't end with it." Lena choked back a sob, squeezing Mira's hand. "I'd rather die with you than live another day alone." As the undead drew closer, they clung to each other, the noise of the oncoming horde a brutal reminder of their fate. They closed their eyes, finding solace in each other's presence, ready to face the end together. And as the darkness closed in, their love became a final, defiant light, a memory etched into eternity, stronger than fear, fiercer than death.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more twisted Twilight tales, and look for Scary Reads on Amazon using the affiliate link in the description below.